Alright, this better work. This better work. Oh, we're here. Okay. Hello guys, hello everybody, and welcome back to MUFC MPB. My name is Brooks, and of course, you have seen me before. Sorry for the delayed start. I don't know why whenever I go back onto this, the sliders have changed. It doesn't allow me to stream from Streamlabs. Then it takes forever to change it from the YouTube in-house streaming software to external streaming software. So sorry about that, apologies. But yes, welcome back to MUFC MPB. There has been a bit of an update to the roster in terms of who's going to be streaming. It's just going to be myself, Anil, and Aaron from here on out. It's going to be me on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, Anil on Tuesdays, and Aaron on Thursdays to keep you guys entertained and up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, and general stuff around the club. I need to get off that and put it back on this because that was almost slippy. Let me just make sure that we are live. Definitely live now. Definitely. So we are definitely 1,000,000% live, but I'm also scared that we are not because there are so many different issues going on with this. Yeah, so we're definitely live. Thank God for that. Alright. So there are a couple of things which I do want to cover in this episode. We're going to have a little bit of an injury update from Lisandro Martinez. We're going to have a bit of a question from the main man himself regarding a couple of summer transfers. And we're going to be reflecting on the interview that Rasmus Højlund took with the United stand, as well as some news regarding Sir Jim Ratcliffe's stake in Manchester United and how close we are to seeing it officially announced, or approved by the Premier League. But we're just going to start off with Lisandro Martinez. A bit of upsetting news, but if we look on the bright side, it's not as bad as it could have been. So we do have to take that into consideration and thank the heavens that it wasn't something more serious, because especially with a knee injury, this is very, very serious knee injury, definitely will lead to a load more problems in the future. And of course, we want Lisandro Martinez to be fit as much as possible, because in the games he has been available for this season, especially in the last week or two, it is so clear and evident to me, to Erik ten Hag, to the pundits, to all of you fans and everybody in the stadium, he is one of the most important players in this Manchester United team. He's a massive, massive cog. He's like one of the main cogs in a big machine. And if he's not working properly, or if they've got another cog that doesn't quite fit the holes and isn't the right shape, it just doesn't function properly. And that's what Lisandro Martinez is to Manchester United. So, official news: Lisandro Martinez has sustained an injury to the medial collateral ligament in his knee and is expected to be out of action for at least 8 weeks. This means that we have Varane fit. Maguire is fit as well, I believe, as well as Johnny Evans. Luke Shaw is fit, who can also deputise at left centre-back, which I think we probably might see a couple of times. And of course, Dalot can play left-back, as he has demonstrated very well this season. And then, I don't know, is Wan-Bissaka injured? But if not, we know how that goes. Wan-Bissaka right-back and Dalot left-back, with Luke Shaw deputising in the left centre-back position. But yes, 8 weeks is equivalent to 2 months, of course, if you guys didn't know. So we will not be seeing Lisandro Martinez on the pitch, I'd say, for at least 2 months. And I say for at least 2 months because I know his importance to the squad and I know how much we need him now and not in 2 months. But I don't want to bring him back after 7 weeks, for example, and then he picks up another injury of some sort. I think we need to be very careful with his rehabilitation. I guess the one, if you do want to take a positive from an injury, maybe I'm just someone who always likes to look on the brighter side, but at least it's not the same injury as before. At least it's not a flare up or a reoccurrence of his foot injury, which did rule him out for such a long time. So that is the one positive we can take from this. He doesn't need surgery, which was a very, very big scare. As we can see here, Lisandro Martinez has a sprained collateral ligament. The worst scenario was ruled out. It is between a month and a half. It's between a month and a half and 2 months of recovery. No surgery needed. So that is That is the biggest smile I can take out from that. Yeah, we do have a bit of news on the Sir Jim Ratcliffe or the Ineos takeover. You know what? We'll cover it now. Hi guys, hello Z and hello Y. So David Ornstein via 5, which is Rio Ferdinand's podcast or brand. He says Ineos' 25% stake in Manchester United is expected to be officially ratified by the Premier League in the coming days. Basically, it's all but confirmed, and it will be confirmed within the next week. And I don't believe this is one of those Manchester United next weeks, because Manchester United's time value and appreciation of time is absolutely bewilderingly terrible. As we all know, Manchester United linked to a player talks in the next week or so, and then we're sitting for 2 months. This should genuinely be announced in the next few days by the Premier League. So I guess any concerns or any real doubts, if people still had doubts that he was actually coming in, should be nipped in the bud. So I'm very, very happy about that. It does mean that there shouldn't be any confusion, and there shouldn't really be any delay in terms of what we're going to start doing in the summer. It isn't just going to be Jim Ratcliffe coming in. It's going to be Brailsford. It's going to be Jean-Claude Blanc. Omar Barada, of course, as the CEO. I don't know 100% who the sporting director or the head of recruitment will be, but it is looking like Dan Ashworth will be the sporting director. No, I don't own the account. My name is Brooks. I have my own Twitter account. The MPB himself isn't me. He is someone else. I'm just one of the people who will be speaking on behalf of the Twitter page here on YouTube. So just make sure you subscribe if you want to be kept up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Martinez is going to be a terrible miss. Just as things were getting sweet as well. That win against West Ham was magnificent, by the way. Rasmus Højlund and Alejandro Garnacho, as well as Kobbie Mainoo. You could even put Marcus Rashford into it now, but I don't really want to include him in those three because they are, teenagers, or they've just finished being teenagers. They really are the future of Manchester United. I think it's only a matter of time before we see those three guys starting every single match as in being the first names on the team sheet, regularly contributing with goals and assists. I know they've been doing that recently in the last few games, but I'm talking about hopefully next season, as early as next season. I'm talking about Rasmus Højlund scoring 15 Premier League goals and getting 5 or 6 assists. Alejandro Garnacho, 10 assists, 6 or 7 goals. That's the type of return I believe these guys can reach even as early as next season. And I know that might not seem like a lot, or only 6 goals or only 10 assists, but remember the age. Alejandro is 19 years old and Rasmus Højlund is just 21. The ceiling that they have at this club is so high. I'm scared with Garnacho because of it. He was born and raised in Spain. I know he represents Argentina, but I would say he's Spanish. And of course, Ronaldo's his idol. He seems to be not living in the shadow, but just being his shadow in a good way, in a positive way. He looks up to him. He wants to replicate what he's doing. And why wouldn't you? Because, he's one of, if not the best players that's ever played the game. But that does mean, he's come to Manchester United the same way Ronaldo came to Manchester United. And in a couple of years, if he possibly reaches the heights we think he can as quickly as he can, guess who's going to come knocking? Real Madrid. And guess who Real Madrid signed in 2009? Cristiano Ronaldo. And guess who Alejandro Garnacho's idol is? Cristiano Ronaldo. I think I can see it coming. Although I hope if we're winning enough trophies, if we're dominating enough, if we're exciting enough, if he's the main man or one of the main men in the team, I think we could persuade him to stay. But he's one that I'm very excited for. Hopefully he has a long, long career at Manchester United. And last but not least, Kobbie Mainoo. You would have seen it on here. You would have heard me say it on here, on Twitter, everywhere. I've been watching Mainoo for years now, and I was under no illusions, under no doubt whatsoever that he would walk straight into the first team. And it fits like a glove. It looks like he's been playing there for years. I think what you have there is someone who genuinely just is better than most of the other players on the pitch, most of the other players in the team, in terms of his technical ability, in terms of his level-headedness on the pitch and his contribution to the team. He's not a youngster that's just coming through in centre mid and hiding. He's not just lunging into tackles to make it look like he's putting in effort. He's getting the ball on the half turn, collecting it off the keeper, collecting it in dangerous positions and not losing it. His ball retention is crazy. He's 18. And he's already playing like this. Gosh, man. He's a special player. Dominic says, yes, he owns a Twitter account. I don't own me personally, I don't own the Twitter account. Why Blanc is on the board with Barada as CEO. Yeah, I want to know exactly how that's going to work, because before Barada's name was mentioned, wasn't it Jean-Claude Blanc who had the CEO position fulfilled? But what I have heard, I don't know if it's true. I'm going to say it because it probably is true, but I don't have the source. That Jean-Claude Blanc will be a CEO of sorts, but he will report or talk with Barada in terms of decisions. So I don't see a problem with that. Given their expertise and their experience in top-level football, European football, I don't see that as a problem. I see that as two great minds working together, and hopefully they can bounce off each other and produce the best they can for Manchester United. Yeah, I've seen, I think in the last week or the last 10 days or so, Paul Mitchell, as the head of recruitment, is looking off. Let me just refocus this. Apparently, Paul Mitchell, as the head of recruitment, is looking like it's not going to happen. I personally don't have much news on that. I haven't heard anything that's come out recently regarding that, apart from looks like Paul Mitchell isn't going to be head of recruitment at Manchester United. But that is mainly because we've been linked so heavily to Dan Ashworth, who I believe is currently at Newcastle. Again, top of class, or one of the top of the class that who's available right now, or who we could get. So I would be happy with either. I'd probably be happier with Paul Mitchell, mainly because I know about him more and he has more experience across the continent. I know Dan Ashworth is at Newcastle right now, and obviously they've had an influx of cash, and they haven't just gone and spent 100 million on every player that they can because of this new money coming from the Middle East. They've spent well, very astute signings like Bruno Guimaraes, Alexander Isak, Sven Botman, even Nick Pope. I think there's a level of intelligence there that I feel like Manchester United hasn't really had ever since David Gill left, to be honest with you guys. The signings that Newcastle have made in the past couple of years with Dan Ashworth working there they've just been really clever. Harvey Barnes as well. I know he's been injured and he hasn't really been playing much of late. Of course, he scored on the weekend. I can't remember who they were playing. But that's another good signing I think Newcastle have made. They make the right signings at the right time, and Dan Ashworth is a very big reason for that. And I think if you have someone there who has that sort of experience in finding the needles in the haystacks and finding players that work specifically for that team and making the best use of what he has at his disposal, I think would be a very very good pickup for Manchester United. However, I just think that Paul Mitchell would be better, and that's probably ignorant for me to say because I don't know so much about Dan Ashworth. But as I said, his continental experience and his pedigree and his status and the fact that everybody knows he would be great in the job, and everybody knows what he's done, everybody knows how good he is at his job in general, not just if he was at Manchester United. I think the correct appointment would be Paul Mitchell, but of course that's down to Barada and Jean-Claude Blanc now, and they would 100% have better ideas and knowledge than me. They have all the members' resources they could possibly need. We need to get our hands on Paul Mitchell because Liverpool could go for him, but maybe we're not going for him. But wasn't Paul Mitchell? No, that was Rob Edwards. That was Edwards. My bad. I think the sporting director will be someone out of the blue, like Barada. The Athletic are saying Ashworth is unlikely now, but Fabrizio says he's still the favourite. I haven't seen that article from the Athletic, to be honest with you, but I'm not surprised. There's always... It could be a toilet cleaner. It could be the owner. It could be a left back. It could be an academy player. Whenever Manchester United are linked with employing someone new, there's always going to be, oh yes, it's definitely going to happen. There's always going to be, nah, it's off. There's always going to be, it's unlikely. There's talks. Every single possible outcome and every single possible avenue that you could possibly think of when it comes to an employee and Manchester United, they will take so many different roads to get there. So I'm firmly in the camp of I don't really believe much until I see extremely concrete evidence. And my concrete evidence isn't just a tweet from Fabrizio. Maybe it's a hint from a club. Maybe it's a club tweeting something. It could be someone holding up the top. It could be Sir Jim Ratcliffe shaking hands. It could be Sir Jim Ratcliffe being at Ultra. Any of this, that's the concrete evidence I'm talking about. But until I see that, I don't know. As I said, I would like Paul Mitchell though. He would be my first choice. How about get Ralph Rangnick back? It would be good, and ideally that would be something that we could do because, of course, when he came in, he didn't peel that plaster off slowly. He ripped that plaster off and then put boiling sugar water on the wound because everything at Manchester United since Ralph Rangnick since he came and left has been up in the air. We don't know what's happening, but at the same time, positive change is happening. I felt so bad for Rangnick because, yes, he was the godfather of the Gegenpress. He, famous managers like Klopp, Tuchel, Nagelsmann, who's a German, Hansi Flick, I think, look up to him because, he was doing what they were doing before they were doing it. But he came in without very recent experience in the manager's position. And I think that was used against him viciously. I think this is what I mean, like the decisions that were made at Manchester United before now hopefully just didn't make sense. Fair enough if you got him after Sir Alex when he was managing, but you didn't. You waited until 2020 something to get someone who hadn't managed for years straight into a job at Manchester United is absolutely bonkers. I know he's managing the Austrian team now and doing very well, but extremely different circumstances, different players, different expectations, different fans. It's a country, it's not a club. There's a massive difference. And yeah, he is a good manager. He has good tactics. He has a style of play. But for whatever reason, at Manchester United, we've been employing bums and we've been employing divas and prima donnas and whingers and whiners and players who like to give up on managers. And I think it's systemic. It comes down from the top. The lack of communication, the apathy. I think everything just molds into one toxic mosh pit. And I think putting Ralph Rangnick in that lava pot was criminal. He's never going to come back to Manchester United. I think that time is gone. I think it's completely gone. I would have loved to see him in a position in the boardroom because as the director of football, he was very good. Can't remember what club he was at in Russia. I could not tell you what club he was at in Russia where we got him from. But he has pedigree. Yeah, I know he's manager of Austria. I said that. How do Man United get Dan Ashworth out the Newcastle job? By calling his phone and offering a job. We are Manchester United. And I know people are going to be like, no, you can't say we are Manchester United even... You can't say that now because we're rubbish, but we're Manchester United. It's the biggest club in England. We can offer the same money as Newcastle. We can give him a bigger toy train to play with if he likes trains. It will be someone random. Nobody expected Barada. I don't think people know how important this is. Their director of football. Yeah, I've had so many conversations with people regarding management positions above Erik ten Hag and the importance that they bestow upon the team. And I think it gets lost in translation a lot. I think people might think there is too much emphasis, or they might take it too literally, or they might take things out of context, or they're just not intelligent. Obviously, we're not going to win a match 5-0 compared to 3-0 if Barada is the CEO tomorrow or not. But what happens is stuff filters down, stuff struggles to get filtered up, stuff gets lost in communication if you don't have a competent CEO, if you don't have a competent supporting director, head of recruitment, co-owner, owner, anybody. If people are in these positions and they don't have intelligence in the world of football, in the world of sport, the Premier League, Manchester United, all of these things, then it just won't work, regardless of who you have as manager. We could have got Pep Guardiola, but if you still had Ed Woodward and John Murtough above him, then it would have just been a terrible, terrible performance, because Guardiola is a manager who likes to have free reign of the transfer book, the checkbook. We're going to sign someone. They signed Nolito, got rid of him a year later because he just didn't cut it. And then I believe they signed Sane, or they replaced him instantly, and then it worked. Pep Guardiola needs to be able to tinker. Yes, he's probably the best man. I think he's the best manager in the world at the moment, but it took time. It takes time for Lokomotiv Moscow. That's it. It takes time for Pep Guardiola to get from I'm here now to this is my squad and this is how I'm going to play and this is why we are the best team in the world, because he's done it at Barcelona and he did it at Manchester City. Not sure if he quite did it at Bayern Munich because he didn't win the Champions League, but you get what I'm saying. I think most importantly, we've got Barada. I think the signing of Barada is a massive show of intent from Manchester United. Literally the best team in the world, Manchester City are. And we've gone and taken their CEO. Make of that what you will, but everybody's saying Manchester United or Man City is bigger than United now. Just proof's in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. We've gone and taken their parents. So I don't see why we couldn't do the same to Newcastle as well. I can see Ranić going to Liverpool in a board role, yeah, not as manager, definitely. He's not a manager, and the club wants him to do miracles. Is this Ranić? Ranić is literally manager of Austria. We treated Ronaldo so badly. Yes and no. I think Ronaldo's ego is huge, and I don't have a problem with it. Just for the record, I think he deserves to have a huge ego. I think he deserves everything that he's worked for in his life. And obviously, the unfortunate passing of his child, it was just terrible news, and it's not something I can relate to. It's not something I really have feelings or emotions for because it's nothing I've ever experienced. And I would imagine Ten Hag was the same, because I can 100% understand Ronaldo's viewpoint, and I can 100% understand Ten Hag's viewpoint, but I don't think it's something that Ten Hag's ever lived through or experienced. So maybe he doesn't understand the time or what exactly Ronaldo needed. And obviously, rightly so, Ronaldo didn't take it well. You're telling me to come back and, my kid's just passed. I think that's terrible. I think that's so disrespectful. Yes, fair enough. 100% fair enough. I just think it was almost a clash of two egos, and on Erik Ten Hag's side, someone who didn't understand the situation completely. And of course, he's the manager of Manchester United. He needs to focus on the football, and Ronaldo was a part of his plans. He would have been the focal point of his plans. He wants him back as soon as possible. Just a bit too soon, so it's fine. But with what Ronaldo did in terms of the interview, you could just see me itch my back in the mirror. That is disgusting. I don't care though. With the interview, I'm grateful for the interview with Piers Morgan. Thank you, Piers Morgan. Haven't really said that much, but without all of that, none of this would be happening. I promise you that. Manchester United did Ralph style for what? Manchester United did Ralph style for one half versus Crystal Palace. Yeah, then we gave up. I think it might have been too tiring for the players, too much running. What do you think is going to happen to the stadium? I think funny to speak about the stadium, actually, because I don't know if you've watched it. Rio Ferdinand released, edits of the interview that he did with David Gill, and David Gill spoke about the stadium. He said the stadium's been leaking since they were there. But obviously, since when you're doing well, this is his words, paraphrasing. When Manchester United are doing well, you're not going to get as many. You're not going to get as many complaints. You're not going to get as many negative stories in the media. And of course, when Joel was there, he left at the same time as Alex Ferguson, by the way. when Jill was there with Sir Alex Ferguson, they were winning. It was a trophy every season, pretty much guaranteed. Do you think anybody cared about a little drip in the stadium? But now we're losing. There's toxicity on and off the pitch. There's, the Glazers are still there. Oh, and now the stadium's leaking on me. Oh, God, what the fuck's going on? You see, it's just as simple as that. I think with the stadium, I don't want anybody to take it down. I don't think Old Trafford should be taken down. I think it should be renovated the same way Real Madrid renovated it. Like, the stadium is still open, matches can still be played, but they're renovating the stadium, and then when it's all unveiled, it'll be a massive thing. But of course, remember that tricky train track behind the East Stand, I think. You can't just rip up a train track because that's way different than just flat grass or flat ground. Rajat V says Pep is the best tactician, 100%. Ronaldo wasn't available for the Premier League and he knew that. He blamed the manager. That's my opinion on it. Yeah, he just wasn't available in time. I think in situations like that, me personally, I wouldn't cut communication with Ronaldo. I'd just be like, listen, I want you back as soon as possible, innit? But I understand, I can empathise with you, and that's why I'm going to give you all the time you need. Ideally, I want you back in 2 weeks, but if you need 3.5 weeks, take 4. Do you know what I mean? I would have, given how important Ronaldo is and who he is, I would have maybe approached it a bit differently. The announcement is tomorrow. He manages the whole City group, mate. Are you talking about Barada? Yeah, the transfer budget is a number that gets thrown about. So you could probably raise about 100 to 115 million pounds through sales, through cutting wages on top of sales, and then you probably have a few 100 million transfer kitty from the new ownership. I'd expect around that much for Ten Hag to improve the squad, get a few players in, and there was a couple of players who we will be talking about nearer the end of this episode, just to get your opinions, see if you think they are worth bringing in. In fairness to Ronaldo, I think he made the Glazers put the club up for sale. Maybe I'm wrong. I know it didn't sell, but I know what you mean. I think that as well. As I said, if Ronaldo didn't do that interview, then I don't think we'd be here today talking about new owners. Who could leave in the summer to take the budget up? Well, we can go through the squad. I can get the squad up on the screen here, and then so goalkeepers through defenders, goalkeepers through attackers, and we will just let you know. So we've got Altay being there. Personally, I think we should sell him because we're obviously not going to play him. Onana, I think we should keep. Lindelof, I think we should sell. Maguire, I think we should sell. Rafael Varane, I think we should sell. I think we should keep Wan-Bissaka. I think we should keep Rafael Varane and Wan-Bissaka, but I also think we should sign another right back because of how well Dalot can play on the left and the right, almost to an equal level. Say, for example, Wan-Bissaka picks up an injury, or Dalot picks up an injury. Then you play Wan-Bissaka. If Luke Shaw picks up an injury, you play Dalot. If Wan-Bissaka picks up an injury, you play Dalot. If then Shaw picked up an injury and Dalot picked up an injury, did I say right back or left back? No, I think we should sign a left back, backup left back. I know Malacia has only had one injury, but this is long. This is very, very long. Definitely. I'm sorry. I'm reading the comments. Yeah. No, see, I know they won't have 3 right backs, but the way I see it is, you have Dalot as left and right. And then you have like a backup right back. Listen, it made sense in my head. Because in my head, I'm picturing it as Dallow's just in the middle. And then you have the one first left back, second left back, first right back, second right back. Dallow being the first right back and also the second left back. You know, do you get my sense? You see, Dallow for me is the starting right back now. Before for me it was Wan-Bissaka, but I think in this season especially, Dallow's been one of the most consistent performers, and I think he shows every week. Every game is just an improvement. He looks more assured on the ball. He's picking the ball up in central positions. His attacking play is very good, and his defensive work is very, very underrated. But we will just carry on with the squad. Sell Brandon Williams, sell Johnny Evans. I'd keep Alvaro Fernandez on loan at Benfica again if possible. And of course, Willy Kambawala, I'd keep him as well because I do like him. I've been watching him since before his big injury. Sofiane Amrabat is on loan anyway, so he's going back. Mount, Bruno, stay. Eriksen, I think we should sell. Someone's trying to buy Eriksen now, actually. Ahmad, this is an interesting one. I don't know why he's not been playing. My only assumption is maybe Manchester United are trying to get some market value on Omari Forson and give him some game time. So if they are, actually looking to get him out of the club, then he's, got a bit of a portfolio, in the Premier League playing first team football. So I would keep Ahmad. I don't know about Casemiro. I think if you get rid of Casemiro, if you get rid of a player like Casemiro, the only suitable replacement for him is someone who either is on their way to being as good as him or is as good as him now. Because it's not like a second string player that you're replacing. You can just go and get the next Tom, Dick or Harry. This is Casemiro, one of the best in his position. You can't go from, Uncle Ben's Mexican style rice to plain undercooked white rice. You can't do that. You have to get another pack of Uncle Ben's Mexican style, or you can get Mexican or spicy Mexican rice. They're similar. It's not as good, but it's similar. It has the potential. It's just not as good. So Casemiro is an interesting one because off the dome, I can't think of a DM, defensive midfielder like Casemiro who's available and as good or will be better within the next year or two. I can't think of one. And I'm not talking about in-house because Kobe Manu's ceiling is crazy, but I'm talking about someone who we could sign. Frimpong is a must. I want to sign him, but it's died down. It's died down a lot. We know Luke got tried at centre-back and did quite well. Yeah, he's very good backup left centre-back, Luke Shaw. Shaw and Malacia as left-backs, Dallow and Frimpong as right-backs. But this is the thing. I really, really like Dallow in this system and the way he's been playing. Who starts out of Dallow and Frimpong? I think we definitely need to sign two centre-back, two CBMD. Eriksen, I'm guessing, who can put a cross in, and a striker, but I don't know who. I like Nicolo Barella, innit? Like he's one of my favourite players, Nicolo Barella. We should have got Çalhanoğlu when we had the chance on a free a couple of years ago. That would have been amazing. He's very good. I know people want Elise, but look very injury prone. Crystal Palace and Roy Hodgson have managed his injury shockingly. It's worse than the way we deal with injuries. Joshua Zirkzee. That's not the correct pronunciation. Zirkzee from Bologna, 6'4". 6'4"? He's not 6'4". There's no way he's 6'4". No chance. He does not look that tall. What's 1.93 meters in height? In feet. 6'3". 6'3". You keep Hugel and McNeil. Nah, I'm not gonna lie. I've always said this thing about especially at Manchester United. Unless your name is Lingard, who came through when he was like 22 or 3 or 4 or whatever. I feel like if you're a Manchester United youngster, yeah, and you're playing for the youth teams and you have all this praise and you have all of the, oh yeah, he's going to be amazing. If you're 20, 21 and you're still going out on loan to League One, League Two sides, I just don't think you're going to make it at Manchester United, like in the first team. I like to be a first team starter when we're trying to win silverware. McNeil came in from Man City. I don't know his record, but he'd scored literally hundreds of goals. His goal to game record was fake. It was like FIFA Ultimate Team. And pretty much the same with Hugel. I prefer Hugel over McNeil, but I don't feel like they're gonna get that chance, especially with Rasmus Højlund, because he's only 21 and we're still looking at another striker. So you've got the striker, you've got Højlund, you've got Rashford then underneath Højlund, and now you've got McNeil, and now you've got Hugel, and now you've got Whittaker. All of these other strikers, I don't feel like they're going to get there. Unless they're special, I don't feel like they're going to get there. Casemiro will go Saudi. I think if he goes to Saudi, we'll get a decent amount of money. So I'd want him to go to Saudi if he does leave. Like João Neves, but he's not very physically built. Neither is Kobbie Mainoo. They're both relatively small. Not the most muscular, but they know how to use their body. Look, Mascherano wasn't the biggest player, but he was scary. I don't think height matters. I think... Listen. Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, listen. Barcelona, Xavi, Iniesta, tiny. Messi, tiny. Gavi, tiny. Bernardo Silva, tiny. David Silva, tiny. Gary Medel, tiny. Javier Mascherano, tiny. Let me think of another centre mid / defensive midfielder that's not very tall and is very good. N'Golo Kante. I don't think height matters. I think too much is put on like height and your physicality. When you're technically good enough to be playing first team football week in, week out for one of the biggest European sides out there, I don't think he isn't physically built enough should be even a conversation to be had if he's being linked to us. He can come in and play football, and over time he can put on a couple of kilograms through conditioning, through gym work. I don't think that should be a reason to not get someone. I think a good example of this going against me would be Angel Gomez. I think, yes, he wasn't physically very built, but he's just very small. I think, yeah, he's very lightweight, but João Neves looks a bit more robust. I don't see a problem with him. I definitely want to get João Neves, and I think we should get him. Someone we've been linked very heavily to since the winter window. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that go down in the summer. Of course, it wouldn't be a very cheap one, but I would like to see that. Would like Xerxes, but haven't seen much. Need to look him up. See, I want to talk about Xerxes because I'm seeing why here going crazy over him. So is my new enthusiast. So saying SO. What country is SO? But he came through at Bayern Munich, and he played a few games for the senior side a few years ago. And I remember watching him, and I just thought, I don't like the way he runs. I don't like the way he kicks the ball. I don't like his style of play. And he made me think of a player that we had in the youth academy called Damani Mella. And I knew someone that was quite good friends with him. I played five-a-side with him a few times. Not Damani Mella, but his friend. And from way before he I guess got released by Manchester United, his friend said, we're not making it out of the hood. He just didn't see a future for him at Manchester United, and I think he bears resemblance bears a resemblance to Joshua Zirkzee. I don't see it happening at Manchester United. I know we've been linked to him a lot in the past week or two, but me personally, from what I remember watching and seeing at Manchester United, I think that at Bayern Munich, I just don't think it would work, to be honest. Oops-a-daisy. But we will move on. Oh, I've just seen a couple more names actually. Pedro Neto. Someone said injury prone, and that is Pedro Neto's middle name, injury prone. Fred was very small. Exactly. I don't think height matters, to be honest. Yeah, he's very good, brilliant against Chelsea. Elise, I think Elise is better than Neto, but for different reasons. Anton wins the next stream. There will be streams Monday to Friday, but if you're asking for my next stream, I believe it's tomorrow, Wednesday. Neto full package. Kambuala. Oh yeah, I like Kambuala. From what I've seen of him, he's a bit of a beast, isn't he? He's a bit of a big lad. He's a French international under the youth, not like a full international, but he did pick up an injury, which is why I guess we're seeing him at kind of a random time. I have high hopes for him. I hope we don't let go of him like Ted and Mengi, but I do also feel like we can't have this injury problem. We can't have an injury-prone Manchester United squad. All of these youngsters coming through, picking up injuries. It has to stop. It has to stop. Because as you see in the last couple of games, we've had a full-strength side effectively, and we've done very well. And I think if that's what we do, you know, when we've got our full strength side and we have, I can pick him. I've got all of these players at my disposal. I think it's a very different and potent Manchester United. And of course now you've got Garnacho, Mainu, Rashford, Fernandes, Højlund, all of these players finding form. Dalot keeping form throughout the season. What's to say we can't get top four? Look, I know we're a good few wins off top four, but remember we're on one game a week now. And one thing we need to do for next season is make sure we qualify for the Champions League. And I think getting knocked out of Europe completely might be a blessing in disguise, because it gives us time to focus, recoup, rehabilitate between each match. Sorry, I need to look at this message. It was on the screen, but I had to click off it. Yes, my next stream is tomorrow, so I'll be back tomorrow at 7:15, around that time-ish. It'll be announced on the MUFC MPB page before the stream tomorrow, definitely. But we're just going to talk about some quotes from Rasmus Højlund and his interview on the United Stand earlier today, which I think is that whether or not, look, I like the United Stand. I've been watching them for years. I'm a fan of Mark Goldbridge. Whether or not you like him, I couldn't give two shits, to be honest. I think he's an entertainer. I think he knows how to keep a crowd. And of course, he does have good sources and good sources of information. Whether you like him or not, this is a massive, massive coup for the United Stand, fan channels in general, fan-led media content. Anything outside of professionally published, public, like privatized broadcasters like Sky Sports and like news channels, I think is honestly amazing. Getting this sort of access to Manchester United is absolutely amazing. It's a what's it called? This is I guess some sort of fan / aggregator channel, and the fact that the United Stand is able to interview Højlund is massive for us, because it lets us know that, hey, we can do this. This channel has a very big following, so who knows? But yeah. In the interview today, there's just a few questions here. Rasmus Højlund on whether he'd prefer David Beckham cross or Paul Scholes ball in behind. He actually said Anthony, but they had to cut that out because he lied. But yeah, Paul Scholes. If we can get another player on the level of Paul Scholes, not someone that matches his game completely, but someone who can run the game with one eye blindfolded, one leg tied behind his back, and an ankle weight on the other foot, I think we're going to be in for a decade of absolute masterclasses, and I think Kobbie Mainoo is the man for that. I'm not saying Kobbie Mainoo plays like Paul Scholes, but having someone in the middle of the pitch with the level of composure of him, with passing range and his confidence at such a young age, I think it's going to be absolutely massive. It's going to be absolutely massive for Manchester United. What's going on here? Sorry, guys. So I wanted to speak about this as well. Sorry, because I did find this interesting. Rasmus Højlund, on when he first found out about the interest from Manchester United, I think it was around May, I found out there was this serious interest in me. Now, I don't know if you guys delve into the ins and outs of like the hierarchy of football in terms of like the owners that are talking to other directors and we want to sign this. But I don't know if you guys look into it that much. But a lot of people, I guess, just don't really know how it works. A lot of people think, we're linked to Elise on Monday. That's the first time anybody at Manchester United has ever said, Elise looks good. No, I think you have months. Højlund is saying May. I don't know when we first heard about Højlund being linked to Manchester United, but I'm sure it wasn't May. I'm sure it was a June / July, maybe even / August time, because it was quite late. Or he signed late, and it also went on for a while. I think it's just interesting because we're looking at Branthwaite, we're looking at Elise, we're looking at Xerxes, we're looking at all of these players now, and this isn't just Manchester United people making up rubbish about us being linked to players and trying to stir interest. This is people genuinely inquiring, sending messages, sending emails, talking to entourages, probably getting people like Wan-Bissaka to, Eberechi, what you saying? What's Elise saying at Crystal Palace? Is he open for a move in the summer? Stuff like that. This goes on for months. Remember, these footballers are friends. Christian Eriksen is a Danish international, one of the captains on the captaincy team. Obviously, Højlund is a Danish international. They would have had international breaks. Eriksen probably would have been talking to Højlund saying, listen, how are you finding Atalanta? Is your development going well? What do you think about the Premier League? Oh, you support Manchester United? Oh, that's great. Oh, sweet. It might not have said anything then, but just saying the name Manchester United might have got his ears pricked up a little bit. Ineos announcement coming tomorrow. I have a friend who is a cousin of Kobbie Mainoo, and the players were told today. Source, what is the source? Source, please. Good point. Everybody has different opinion on Goldie. Somebody like Bernardo Silva at City, we need somebody like that. He's one of Bernardo Silva for me is my top three favorite players in the world, and I think he's top 5 in the world, just hands down. I argue with your dog. Need to find the next Alvarez as well. We already found Alvarez, but we didn't sign him. Manchester, they're losing to Brentford. What's the score, lad? Neil Maupay. Jeez. Come on. Mark Flecken assisted. Was that a long punt up the pitch? Seems like that's what it is. But anyway. Yes. So there is some news regarding Michael Elise. Maybe it's not the news you wanted to hear, but Manchester City will fight Manchester United to sign Michael Elise in the summer, which means we will not be signing Michael Elise. Hopefully it doesn't mean that. But yeah, Manchester, obviously with a player who has the talent like Elise and the potential like Elise, it's not just going to be Manchester United that are going to be fighting for a signature, and you'd be naive to think that we were the only team in for him. So I'm not really surprised here, to be honest with you guys. I am still confident that we'll get him. Apparently he is a lifelong fan of Manchester United. I believe we'd be able to offer him more as well in the long run. He could be the face of the club. Imagine a front three of Garnacho, Elise and Højlund. Kobbie Mainoo in behind with Fernandes. Boy, that's dangerous. That's dangerous, you know. That is actually dangerous. And And of course, the penultimate post I will put up is this question. This is what I wanted to end on. I'm going to try and end on a question every episode, just to keep you guys thinking. Would you take Jared Brantwaite at Manchester United? My answer, you will find out in tomorrow's stream. But whilst I do sign out, I'm just going to leave this up here because I believe it is a work of art. It is. I want it to be my home screen, but my home screen is my family at the moment. So I'm really, really deciding it's either my mum, my dad, and my nephew, or Mainu, Garnacho, and Højlund. I don't know. Help me decide in the comment section down below. But I do just want to say thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the contribution and all the comments. If you haven't already, make sure you do hit that like button as well as the share button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button as well and hit that bell notification just so you do get notified when we do go live. As you can see, MEOPC MPB says here, I will be back tomorrow either at 7 or 7:30, and Anil Kandola will return on Wednesday. We do have a video coming from Aaron as well on Thursday, and then I'll be back on Friday to end the main week, I guess, before the weekend. But yeah, it's been a pleasure. A couple of last comments. Him and Neto is ideal. We will definitely not get both of them, by the way. Mainu reminds me of Thiago. He does, but Mainu will be better than Thiago, and that is how I'm going to end this episode because Liverpool in it. So I shouldn't have done that. I'm so sorry. GGMU. I hope you guys have a great night, and I hope Manchester City